Welcome to another episode of Better You with your trainer Marcelo. There are so many diets out in the market that how do we know which one are the best options to cover our needs? To answer this question, I invited my good friend and registered dietitian Britt Rotberg. Thank you, Britt, for joining us today.
Thank you, Marcelo, for having me here.
Britt, what do you think about all these diets out in the market?
Marcelo, there are so many diets. I can't begin to explain how many there are. So, U.S. Health News came out with a ranking of which diet is best for each person's need, which was a good thing for everybody.
Oh, that's awesome. What if I tell you a preference and you tell me which diet is the best and why? Okay. So let's begin with overall health.
So for overall health, the DASH diet, which is the dietary approach to stop hypertension, that has been very popular throughout the years. And it's not just to stop hypertension. I don't want people to think, I don't have high blood pressure, I don't need this diet. It's an overall very healthy diet. It focuses on fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, that potassium and calcium that helps keep your blood pressure under control. Like I said, whole grains. The key is not a lot of meat. It actually focuses on less than 6 servings of meat per day, and that's about 6 ounces. So it doesn't focus on a lot of meats, and it focuses on beans, legumes, and you also can have your sweets, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
However,
I like sweets.
we all do, right? We don't want to take that away, but we do want to have less than 5 servings per week.
Awesome. So I guess DASH, it will cover 2 of my preference because first of all was overall health, which is DASH. But second one, I was going to ask you about hypertension. So DASH, it will cover both of those preferences, right?
Yes, you're right. So DASH also focuses on lowering your salt intake. So what is recommended is 2,300 milligrams of salt per day. I know, what does that mean? That's a tablespoon. So okay. I mean, that's really easy to get. If you have a processed food, something that you got in the frozen aisle, it's easy to get those 2,300 milligrams. So they recommend lowering those processed foods and keeping your salt under control. What I recommend is don't cook with salt and then put salt on the table. Do one or the other, and there's a million other substitutes that you can use now instead of salt.
Awesome, that's a great tip. So it's like the dressing salad. Don't ask in the restaurant to put the dressing on the salad. Put it on the side and you just add a little bit. So with the salt, we should do the same thing.
Yes,
right?
And that's a good point. There's a lot of hidden salt. In those salad dressings, you may think, I'm having this low-calorie one, low-fat. What do they substitute it with? It could be salt. So there's a lot of hidden salt. We need to be careful.
So we have to be careful. What a great tip. Talking about salt, there are so many different types of salt. Can you just mention which one, for instance, sea salt and Himalayan salt? What is the difference? There are so many types of salt.
Yeah, so there's gotten a lot of fame, different salts. Which one's better? Oh, let me have the sea salt. Let me have the Himalayan, which is also the pink salt. Which is better? In reality, they all have equal amounts of sodium, and sodium is what increases our blood pressure. Now, the difference is sea salt is less processed, so it does maintain those 84 minerals that our body needs and wants. Himalayan salt, the same thing. And they're also better for the environment. Sea salt is actually better for the environment to produce than what is our table or our normal salt. So again, it's the same amount of sodium pretty much, but there are some differences depending on what your preference is.
Awesome. So we always have to be cautious with the amount of salt, no matter what type of salt we use, right?
Yes, you're correct.
All right, another preference that I have is vegetarian, about plant-based diet. What do you think about that?
Yes, so we hear a lot of people are vegan, vegetarians, and there's a lot of different vegetarians. So there's lacto-vegetarians that have dairy, lacto-ovo, which have dairy and eggs. So there's a lot of different ones. A big diet that I like is the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is not 100% vegetarian, but it does focus more on those plant-based proteins, on those oils, on those wonderful, instead of salt, for example, those wonderful herbs and spices, those nuts. And it does also focus a lot on lowering that saturated fat that comes in meat, lowering those additional sugars, and overall fat. And also, the good thing about the Mediterranean diet, you can have that glass of red wine if you want. If you have it with dinner, perfect. You can continue having it. If you don't drink wine, we don't recommend you start drinking it.
Exactly. If you don't drink, do not start. Okay?
Yes, don't start.
This is an example.
Yes, but if you're already drinking that red glass of wine a day, go ahead.
And moderation is the key, right? It will not kill you, but if you drink the entire bottle, of course, it will make a damage in your body.
Yes.
So you mentioned Mediterranean diet. I heard that Mediterranean diet has been like a top number one for many, many years. Is it still the same? Is it still ranking among the top 5?
Yes, Marcelo, the Mediterranean diet has gained a lot of popularity. It's still one of my top favorites. Like I said, it focuses less on meat and more on those healthy plant-based proteins, those legumes, those nuts. And yes, a lot of people lose weight. Now, we do have to be careful with the olive oil because, of course, olive oil still has fat. And those monounsaturated fats like avocado, canola, olive oil, nuts. So it is also about moderation, which we spoke about.
Exactly. Moderation is the key. We
Yes.
can use everything, we can eat everything we like, but moderation is the key. We don't have to get full of items that are high in calories or high in salt or alcohol. Like as we said before, if you don't drink, do not starve. But if you do, a glass of wine, it will not kill you. A bottle of wine, yeah, will be bad for your
Yes.
body. All right, I have one more preference, and with this one, it's like the million-dollar topic: weight loss. Which is the best diet for weight loss and why?
Okay, so there's, again, 1,000 diets that you can hear, and each diet could work for certain people, so it's all about a preference. However, the #1 ranked diet for the U.S. Health was Weight Watchers. Now, we don't have anything to do with Weight Watchers, but I'm going to explain to you the reason why I think it was ranked #1 and the pros and cons to it. Weight Watchers is not based on calories. It's very hard to count your calories. I mean, some people can have 2,500 calorie requirement, 1,800.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah, and it's very tedious to count calories. I don't count calories. It's very difficult. What I like about Weight Watchers is that it's a point-based system. So each food item has a certain amount of points. So, for example, if you're looking at a fruit smoothie versus that iced latte coffee from, one of those chain coffee places, they both can have 200 calories, but the fruit smoothie will have less points. So again, if you want to choose that iced coffee, you can, but it will have more points. And overall, throughout the day, you have to stay within a certain number of points. So like I said, it's not based on calories, it's based on points, so it is easier to track. It was voted best commercial and easiest diet to use.
That's awesome. As Britt mentioned before, we are not affiliated to any of the companies that we are mentioning in this segment. It's just our own opinion. But yes, I love Weight Watcher as well because they teach you how to eat. It's not like you need somebody for a certain period of time until you reach your goal, and then when you don't need that person, you don't know what to do, or the company. No, Weight Watcher, even if you start with them for a little while, after that you can keep going on your own because they already taught you what and how to do it. So that's another way why I like it.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. I don't like the word diet because it's a beginning to an end. What happens when you stop that diet? You're going to gain that weight back. So the important thing is what you were saying is changing your lifestyle and having a healthy lifestyle overall. And if you're going to choose a diet, I highly recommend a diet that shows you how to eat correctly, and of course, always visiting a registered dietitian for additional help.
It's very, very important. Always, for a meal plan, consult a registered dietitian because it's the only person that knows how to treat your body and will know exactly if any food will be bad for your body, like allergies, food allergies. A registered dietitian is the only person that will know how to prevent that according to the food or the meal plan that they are preparing. All right, no, I'm sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say, and a trend that I just forgot to mention, a trend that we're seeing with a lot of these diets is lowering that red meat. So we do see that across the board. So there are some, diets, for example, Atkins, which is not a preferred one of mine. So lowering that red meat is a trend that we're seeing in a lot of these successful diets.
All right. All right. Thank you, Britt, for joining us today. As usual, great tip, great advice. And you're watching Better You with your trainer, Marcelo.
Thank you, Marcelo.